What makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to the Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagilia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In today's episode, I will be having a conversation with Carol Perry. She is the president of If News at If Management. With over 20 years of experience, Carol has helped journalists and media professionals build successful careers. Get ready for her story, her insight, and tips for success. Good morning, Carol. It's a pleasure to have this conversation with you. I am so excited. You have been with do I call it If Management or do I say IF Management?
If management.
If Management. So you've been with them for over 20 years, building the television news division into what it is today. Can you share how that journey unfolded and what initially drew you to the agency side of media?
Well, it's a great question and it's kind of a long story, but I'll try to keep it sort of short. I mean, I grew up in LA and my mother put me in show business when I was young. So I had an agent and a manager and it wasn't a fit for me. And I knew that I didn't particularly love being the center of attention, but I did it nonetheless and worked, for a couple, probably from the age of 3 to 8 or 9 years old. And then, fast forward, I decided to pursue a career in law. So I moved to New York and went to Cardozo Law School, and I practiced as a litigator for 3 years and pretty quickly realized that it wasn't going to be, a long-term career for me. Just at least not in New York. It wasn't particularly, fun. Not that work has to always be fun, but want to enjoy it a little bit.
Mhm.
So I started just sort of exploring opportunities, both in law and outside of law. And a friend of mine who I'm still close with, spent hours talking it through with me. She's a lawyer and she's still practicing, but she recommended I look at this like newsletter. It was a Columbia Law School newsletter, and they were looking for a talent agent. And I thought, well, this is interesting because I had one growing up. And so I submitted a resume and I got an offer within a week, and it just clicked from there on. And I started representing people straight away, and it was just second nature to me. And I love dealing with people and very sort of hands-on in terms of advising and advocating. So there's still that piece of that legal piece of it that I still continue to do, and negotiating contracts and what have you. And then I transitioned to this company. The other one sort of dissolved, and I had offers from a couple of other places, and I really liked this company in particular because I liked the CEO, and our philosophies were you know very similar in terms of how we approach representation and management of people's careers, and it just clicked. And I've really, he was representing mostly sports people and still is, and asked me to come on and build the news division, and that's what I've been doing for the past 23 years. And brought some of my clients from the other agency that, since the company dissolved, it wasn't an issue. So built from there on, and now I have clients at all of the major networks and top markets across the country. And I've had clients that have worked with us for, you know, almost 20 years. So
Oh, wow.
we really do believe in it's a relationships business. And
Yes.
very passionate about what we do and how we do it.
Yeah, you can, how you can kind of feel the passion when you're talking. It's like you can feel it coming out of you. It's like you
Yeah, it's
love
great.
what you do.
I do. It's awesome. I'm really lucky.
But why did you want to law by any chance? Is this something that's kind of clicked there at the beginning that's made
Well,
you?
yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the advocacy piece of it. I worked at a bigger firm for a while, and that just felt very, sort of factory, like, I felt like a glorified, paralegal writing, briefs and going to court and just to bill out the client. And it just felt very inefficient to me. And, the trials, I didn't love doing those because I didn't like being the center of attention, to be honest. Um, although I think being a trial attorney is a formidable career and impressive, and I respect all the people who do it. It wasn't for me. I'm a deal maker. I really enjoy, and I do in the advocacy. So I made the transition, and I was able to, and that's why I liked being a lawyer, is just being an advocate. And
Yeah. But are you still using that skills even today with if management
oh,
in
absolutely, yeah.
some ways?
In terms of, well, negotiating contracts, some drafting. There are some legal issues that come up, and we don't hold ourselves out as our client lawyers, but it does help that I have the background and understand,
Mm-hmm.
how to sort of help navigate. And we outsource our legal work to another lawyer if we need to. For a long time, I was in-house counsel, and that got to be a little tricky uh, and just too much work, but and also a conflict of interest, frankly. So we've decided to sort of split up and the duties, and I focus on representation full time and trying to manage this division because I have other people in it. So
Right. Okay, so you are the president of If News, which is the company If Management. It
mhm.
sounds like the company has more than one division. So can you tell us about If Management and the division of If News?
Yeah, I mean, we have a sports division, and we also have we represent influencers, on Instagram and what have you. And I mean, that's essentially it. So news, sports, and influencers. And within news, there's meteorologists, there's hosts, there's people that, on the digital and network side. So on TV and, in other words, linear and digital side. So it's a pretty small company. It's just seven of us. We have one person in LA, and I've always liked working for smaller companies. I find that there's it's more impactful in terms of
Yes,
you know, just being able to work directly with the clients, less politics, and generally there's no investor you have to answer to. It's the
that's
focus
true.
is its focus is on the clients, and that's really always been my priority, and I think our priority as a company.
Yes, and I think when the company becomes too big, investors is starting to focus just on the money. And a few companies that starting a few years ago, and I used to work with, and now if you look at them, it's like their products become really bad because they're not focusing on the product or even the client anymore. They're just focusing revenue, 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 revenue. And I understand when you say that. Also, it feels more like a family, isn't it? It's kind of
Mm.
like you get to know your staff. You need to get to understand them and then work with them. But when it's like too big, it's impossible to kind of like have that family that you want to have within the office itself because it's way too much. And also the politics become very high, the drama become a lot. It's overwhelming, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is a family, not just with the clients, but also internally, with the group. But yeah, I think our clients feel like they have access to us. They
Yes.
can text messages, and we always return a call. They never feel that, I mean, everybody's treated the same and gets like the same amount of attention, and regardless of how, what I mean, where they are or how big
Yeah.
they've gotten or so on and so forth. So I like it like that. It just makes the job more fun because you feel like you have more impact. Like that's what drives me is as a person, is generally having impact. And I think a lot of people are like that, to make a
Yeah,
difference.
it is. Making it different in this world. But I'm curious though, because what you guys are doing is very unique because I didn't think that as a as an anchor, you will need someone to represent you. I know that
Hmm.
as a celebrity, I mean, like when we're talking about celebrity as an actor,
Hmm.
or you will need someone, some kind of manager to represent you, right?
Yeah.
So now, when you're talking about a journalist or even an anchor or someone, I mean, think that. So why they need a company like yours to represent them? What's the purpose behind it?
I mean, the same reason that I think that, the actors need opportunity and money, they just think like, it's just one of those businesses that, and I didn't realize that either until I got into the industry. I thought, well, that's interesting. It's a very niche business. The clients are very smart, well read. I mean, they're journalists, so that makes it fun. But so so I'm always up to date on the news because I'm
I'm not.
yeah. So I mean, I think they sort of rely on our resources and our relationships to leverage, create opportunity for them and leverage those relationships, and open the door for certain opportunities that they may not have known of themselves. And when you get to that higher level, the networks and the executives kind of rely on us to sort of um, sift through, see who's ready for them. Because not everybody, just because you become a journalist doesn't mean you're ready to be on camera or good enough to be the type of journalist that they want on their
Yeah,
on their network. So they rely on us to screen and make sure they're not only qualified and talented, but also good people. And I've been told many times by executives that they know my type. And like and they know I like to work with certain type of person. I think that's what they count on and rely
yeah,
on to sort of and advocate for them. Because sometimes no matter who you are, it's always hard to ask for more money for yourself.
that's
Um,
true.
so I'm happy to be the bad guy, close quote.
So let me get this clear. Do you don't work with the news company, but you work with the person they will hire, like the journalists
Yes, our clients
themselves.
are the journalists. So we represent the talent
The
journalists.
talent.
But we have relationships with the television stations and the networks. And if they have opportunities, they let us know about them and we're able to find the right people for them. Not always, but um, a lot of the time.
Oh, and when you talk about also influencers, when we're talking about influencers, we're talking about YouTubers, perhaps the one on Instagram that have huge
Some
millions
of
of
those, yeah.
followers. Okay,
Yeah, it's a pretty new division that started recently. I haven't really been involved in it as much. But yeah, we sort of started that recently and we have a few clients that are starting to do quite well. And so
pretty much you as an influencer, so you kind of like maybe perhaps find them maybe like a commercial kind of things like that, so they can bring
yeah,
more
I mean,
income, or how does that work?
yeah, they'll get, they either write an article or do posts on Instagram on behalf of a particular company, or it just depends on what it is. Or it's mostly just the posts and then some like endorsement type stuff.
Endorsement. Okay, this is amazing. I really like when I'm like, oh
The
wow,
world,
they
right?
doing that. Yeah, it's a whole different
Yeah.
things.
And some of my clients have written books. And so we work with literary agents and we come up with ideas. It's a collaborative process, um and then they seek out a publisher. And so it's very few have been able to do that, but it's something that we've gotten involved in.
You have negotiated contracts for talents across major network like CNN, NBC, and Fox News. So,
Mhm.
what's your approach to ensuring the best outcomes for your clients, especially in how now social media, TVs is and high tech negotiations can be?
Mhm. Well, I always try to find like a win-win. that both parties feel like they've walked away with, what I mean, with a good deal. And as it relates to the talent, I'm always, seeking out before any sort of opportunity, contract is accepted. I'm always seeking out various opportunities to leverage those, make the negotiations a lot more effective. Um, it seems to work pretty effectively just because this way they have options. And,
Mm-hmm.
I think in this business more than any other business, and I think you're only worth as much as what person across the street is willing to pay.
But
So,
that's true.
so that helps a lot. So we're just aggressively seeking out and leveraging opportunities. And and there's that. And then in terms of the negotiations, I take a very sort of calm approach. I try not to be, I mean, certainly, I think I get out, I advocate for the client, but not in a confrontational way because I don't find that to be effective for me. Some people like to, the histrionics of
Yeah,
negotiation, not necessarily my style. So I think you just have to kind of embrace what works for you and what you find most effective.
that's it.
Still be like persistent and, ask for everything and, as pushy as you can be, but not so,
Right.
because that's
But
not
some being
appealing,
too
I don't think.
pushy is not good too. I don't think it's good if you're being too pushy as well because maybe that company will not want to work with you anymore because they only know you're gonna be. You might not mean any harms, but you over exaggerate it. You know.
Right, exactly. And I think it's important to try to preserve that relationship,
Hmm.
and manage expectations on both sides because, yes, we advocate for our client and that's our priority, but the network also wants to feel like they have a partner in this process and that we're working to make this happen and that I'm also
Hmm.
looking out for their interests,
Yes.
without compromising anything for my client. So, I mean, it's very tricky sometimes. No two deals are alike. There's a lot involved. Some deals have taken me, a couple days, and some have taken me over 6 months. It just
Wow.
depends on what the circumstances are and the timing and what drama potentially ensues.
So, what qualities do you look for in journalists or media professionals when you're deciding to represent them?
Mhm. Well, I mean, obviously smart, and I mean, I like working with people that I think are good quality people with high character, um, talented, know the broadcast business. There's a certain art form involved in the presentation. And you have to know and be comfortable with presenting on camera. There's some acting involved, but it doesn't have to appear like acting. So just people that are commanding on camera and compelling and relatable, and smart, and of course it's a subjective business and everybody looks at different people differently. But I after X amount of years, you know, you kind of have a sense of what the networks are looking for or the television stations. And and I also, look for diversity. I mean, it's just the world we live in. I think it's makes my life more interesting. I have a very diverse background, with immigrant parents, and I relate to people who are, come from different or have like a different background or say they have immigrant parents or, so I try to look for diversity and have, a diverse group of people so they're not also competing internally. So if an
Hmm.
opportunity presents itself, I'm not pitching all these people. It's this way I have, different types of people to pitch for these opportunities and they don't feel like they are being overlooked, if that makes sense.
Right. Does also like news, like CNN, will they also reach out to you, said, "Hey, we're looking for that type of person. Can you help out?"
Yep, yep, definitely. we get requests from the networks to, they want to see talent for a specific show they're creating or a role they're trying to fill. And they ask us who our clients are and who we think would be a good fit for those roles or shows or programs.
Pretty much, it's very good for your clients to create a really good relationship with you because that also kind of like help you out because when companies like that reach out, you kind of like, oh yeah, this one is a good one. I know. So it's easy because you already know your clients. But I'm guessing clients that's like shying away you don't know much about them. It can become a lot harder for you to present them like that. It's like that person will be good on it.
I'm not sure I understand.
Let's say, for example, I'm your client, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I'm not like the open client that talks to you about everything. I probably will come to you, say, I want to be a news anchor. I just want to, but I don't talk much. So if you have CNN reaching out to you, they're looking for someone, I might be one of the hard candidates to say that you're going to refer me because you don't know much about me. But if you
Right.
have a client that, those open-minded people, just people you just meet, they like to talk. They just talk
Yes.
about everything. You know them from the inside out.
That
So it's
helps a
because I
lot.
feel like exactly that's what I mean.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, one of the things we ask people to do before we sign them as clients is to put together a soulful bio. And
Mm.
not something you would see on the station website, but something that just sort of stream of consciousness about, what your family's like, what your hobbies are, what inspired you to get in the business. We found out the most interesting things about people, and this way we can find, creative ways to, pitch them for opportunities and it may not we may not have, I'm trying to think of some cool, examples of that, where one guy he's locally here in New York, I knew that he, loved music and he put together an album, and I knew that the general manager of a station was also, his past life was in music, so connected him that way. Had I not known that, they would not have been able to
Hmm.
really, connect with that mutual interest. And he ended up getting an offer like a day after they met. So, things like that. The more we know, the better. And
Yes. Yes, I think so too. That I'm like in your position, it's good to really know the clients. And if you end up with shy clients, people that keep their life so privately, it's becoming a lot harder.
mhm.
So you've been doing this for over 20 years. Oh my goodness. What's one piece of advice you find yourself giving your clients most often?
One piece of advice. That's a good question.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I think just sort of being patient is always a good one, whether it's finding the right opportunity, but also during a negotiation, like not rushing through the process, because a lot of times timing is a valuable leverage tool. Um, I probably that. I mean, I don't, I think big picture. Um, so just be patient and think big picture, and just be nice to people because it's a very small business. I mean, people want to work with people they like. And
That's true.
so, um, no, I don't know if that answers the question, but
Yeah, it
it's a
does. I
tough
think
one. Tough question.
no, no. What you just said is it's great because I met so many people. They're good. They are good in what they do, but I wouldn't work with them anymore. And that's because I'm the type of person that like to smile, and I like to make other people smile, even if you're having a bad day. Um, I form every time I see someone, I look at it, if today is your last day on earth, I want you to smile. So if you're like mad or angry, I'm gonna find a way just to make you smile. That's just who I am. So
Hmm.
when I meet people that try to destroy that little piece that I create for me, I
Hmm.
try. It's like I wouldn't say I will run away, but I don't want to be there. If I don't have to, I don't want to be around that person
Yeah.
because I really just want to smile. I want to be happy. I want people around me to feel that way. And that's just my character. So anywhere I go, like if you find me go to Costco, I will talk and I will make someone like just smile. I will see you. You look like you're pissed. I will like, it's a beautiful day today, and I just smile at you. And you're
Yeah.
looking at me like, why she's doing that? Kind of
Yeah.
weird, right? But
I
I
think
just
it
feel
comes back
like,
to you too. It comes back to you. Like I have a client that I've had for 17 years now. She is doing extremely well, one of the major networks. She's just very successful and very good at what she does. And when she started out, she wasn't on camera just yet, but when you meet her, you know she's a superstar. She's just brilliant and lovely. And she hasn't changed one bit. Her personality, the television camera has not affected her in one way, any way whatsoever. She's still the same person. She goes out of her way to give credit to her team. She is always trying to
mhm,
help her colleagues. She's always paying it forward. She gets up at 4 a.m. to talk to, to be a mentor to younger women, uh,
oh,
to help them in the industry. She'll ask me to talk to certain people. I'm always happy to do it. And so I think a lot of her success is due in part to her. I mean, obviously she's super
yes.
brilliant and talented, and not anybody could do what she does, in my opinion. But she's also very nice and decent and
We
compassionate.
want to be around her.
We want to be around her, and people want to help her. So because she puts out the good vibes. So I just believe in you get what you put out. And
Yeah. So if you really want something, it's someone is helping you, like someone like you, just be nice, be kind. And for me, I looked at it, things will happen in life, right? We are not going to be happy every day. Things will not go our way every single day. But that doesn't mean we need to be angry, mad, and pass it on to everyone we meet and being very, I don't know. Some people are just, sometimes you meet them,
yeah,
it's
I
like,
just think
whoa,
they just like they just think that you have to be very tough to be successful.
not
I mean, I live
really.
in New York City. This is, the biggest, most crowded, aggressive city in the world. You can still do well in life and be nice and respectful and compassionate. So I really believe that, and it's sort of a philosophy I've maintained my whole career, and sort of how I lead this division and help other people grow their careers within our division. So
And you're doing well. So now, if you have to look back at your career, is there a defining moment that say that's show you that okay, this is your passion for what you do?
defining moment. I mean, I think
Yeah, like a
it's
moment you have, even if it's your staff, with your clients, or with your boss, with anyone else, that's just kind of like you
yeah,
feel
I
like,
mean,
wow, this is
I really do enjoy when, you've sort of been behind the scenes and navigating a deal, and some of them can be complex, and then you see them pop up on TV, and it just sort of looks like, oh, okay, they just ended up there. But just knowing like all the stuff that goes on behind, that's tricky, and not always complicated, but can be. And it's rewarding to see them, on TV, but also a lot of our clients start in either smaller markets or working as producers, and then work their way up to TV and bigger markets. So seeing them start in a small place like, Richmond, Virginia, and then showing up on one of the major networks, and then seeing, that those are the moments that are probably that make me love this more and more every day.
it's kind of
Just the
like sitting at home watching the news, and the person back was like, yeah, that was my work. That's my team. We did that.
yeah. We did this together. Yeah. Fun.
So, what are you, before I let you go, I have two more questions for you
Okay.
actually. One of them is, what advice would you give to other women out there? Because it can be tough, it can be
Hmm.
hard, And especially when you're trying to get a position where the competition is high. What
Hmm.
advice would you give to them to keep on going instead of giving up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, every personality is different, but I think just embrace your authenticity. Just be who you are and don't try to be a certain, I think, there's a fit for you, for that personality somewhere where you'll be effective in just being yourself. Um, is that a decent answer? I mean, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I think you need
But
to, be persistent, but also, you don't have to be a certain way to sort of to be a leader. I think you have to find what is like natural to you. And everybody leads differently, right? So my thing is, I lead by example. I'm in the
mm,
trenches. I delegate very little. Um, and so I just feel like you need to find like what works for you and stick with that. And it's a marathon, not a race.
so talking about marathon, you run two of them.
A
You
long
did
time
two.
ago. A long time ago.
Why? What inspired you to do
Why?
that? Yeah. What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, I mean, I love physical activity. I love running. I love sports.
Me too.
Nice. You do?
Yeah, I love running, yeah, but I don't think I can do the marathon, no.
Oh, I'm sure you could if you really wanted to. I love endurance training. And I honestly feel like, so I believe in balance, right? And I feel like if you take care of your body, the rest of you works much better throughout the day. So, and you only
That's
get one
true.
body, right, in your lifetime, so
Yes.
take care of it. And I really believe that it makes a difference. So, I mean, I love running. I love playing tennis, to get my competitive crazy out. I get it out that way. And then, just I love sports. And, I have a son, he's 16 now, and he's athletic, and I'm trying to teach him these principles. Like
Well,
physical activity is really helpful and impactful in your life and other parts of your life.
yes. If management, can someone reach out to if management if they need your guidance? How can they reach out?
They can send an email to carol@ifmanagement.com. And then the website is ifmanagement.com. It's pretty straightforward.
So are you open for any woman to reach out to you for support or
Of course,
guidance?
yeah, absolutely. Happy to do it.
Can they reach out to you on LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah, it's at Carol Perry. No, I mean
Well,
this
thank you.
organization. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that what an amazing organization, Women Supporting Women. I have a lot of female clients, and they're all very smart and strong and ambitious. And all my girlfriends are very smart and successful, and I like to be surrounded by smart, ambitious women.
You have to. You have to. I always tell my friends, you need to create a support group of women
Yes.
that can help you when the time when you need it. Don't get me wrong, you can have a few men here and there, but you do need the women because they know how you feel.
Yeah, and I think it's also tricky. I think a lot of women, they want a good career, but they also want to balance their lives out and have a family.
Yes.
And it's possible. You just have to, plan it out a certain way and find the right place. Um,
Yes.
and so I really do keep all of that in mind when I work with my clients. Like I get it, I understand that you want to have a family. And so, we work together to find, to achieve those goals. And but I don't find them husbands or anything, but in terms of opportunities.
I cannot find you the husband, but I'll get you the
Sometimes.
job. But I know Nick, if you want to meet Nick, you are so funny. Anything else you'd like to share with us before I let you go?
Um, I mean, I'm curious to know. I mean, I listened to some of your podcasts. They're really interesting. Like, I'm curious to know, like, what. inspires you about, all of this?
I was raised by a mother that worked her ass off to take care of five kids and always a businesswoman.
Uh-huh.
Fail a few, succeed a few. And I learned a lot from my mom failures. And I find that perhaps my failures and my success and also other women's failures and success can inspire other women to go out and do something with their life.
Hmm.
You don't need to keep that 9 to 5 job if you don't like it. You can
Hmm.
do a lot more than that. You are capable of doing a lot more than that. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to be easy, it's going to be hard, but you can. So imagine if you can take all of this woman out there and you show that, do you see how many of them doing it? You can too. So I feel like that can inspire a lot of women. So that was the whole purpose of why I started Woman in the first place. At first, I wanted to inspire moms because I started Woman around the time that I was about to have my son. And then at the end, well, less mom was reaching out to me and more non-moms was out to me. So I opened it, okay, I'll just help anyone that doesn't need to be mom. And from there, that little thing, that little group that I started just talking to people on Facebook become big and eventually it's become normal.
Love it.
It's a way that for us to come together, we don't need to be alone. We don't need to feel like we're alone.
Hmm.
And you'll be surprised how many times women will just call me and said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" I'm like, "I don't know you, but go on." And sometimes I don't even ask for their name because I don't really care about that. I feel like just wanting to talk to someone, they just call woman and they won't pick up the phone. So hey, let's talk.
Hmm.
And that conversation itself, and then a few months later, I'll get an email saying, "Thank you for helping me." I'm like, "Oh, that's who you are." I didn't know who you are. But it's just that a lot of women, and I don't know if you go past to 1800, 1900, they did a lot. And
Hmm.
then they didn't have anything. They stand up and fought regardless. But now we have more opportunities because they did something to
Hmm.
open the doors for us. So I think we need to continue that though. We need to continue to do something for the generation that's going to come after us, for
Hmm.
our children. And that's my inspiration behind it. Even though I don't have a daughter, I have a son. But
Hmm.
I think that when I open the door for women, I'm open it for all children in the world.
Hmm.
And each time you do something for, like, when you find you have a woman come to you say, can you help me find this? You help that woman, you're opening a door for
Hmm.
another generation, right? And I think if we continue to do that, so we helping the next generation. And also at the same time, we're opening doors for this generation to open doors for other generations. And that's the purpose of Formel, and that's why I created it.
I love it. Yeah, that sounds great. Well, I think this organization is wonderful, and I love the philosophy behind it, and I totally aligned. And so,
Oh, thank you. But I couldn't do it alone. I have a lot of help. I have a great team, but not just my team, also, we have some great women like yourself that we can always reach out to. Don't get me wrong, I'm a human. So sometimes I have to reach out to for help. Like, can you help me? Can I
yeah.
cry with you? So the moments happen, you know? And when I started Woman, I have a lot of great women that stand behind me to help me make it happen. I didn't do it
Mhm.
alone. So
Right.
as much as I would love to take the credit, I can't. A lot of the ideas that come up, it's from my team. They were like, "Can we do this?" I'm like, "Can we do this?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure, we can give it a try." And it turns out, oh, that works out well. Okay, then. So it's like a group of us that's make Woman from an idea that I have, a group of other people help me nurture it to make it what it is today. And
Hmm.
hopefully that more women will come to make it even better, even after I pass on from this world.
Yeah. I like the word nurture because I think women definitely lead can tend to lead, and I think, differently than male counterparts. And, I think you pick what works for you, but I think being authentic and nurturing in your leadership style, I think you get a lot out of people that way.
Yes.
And I think that is I think more of that should be sort of, taught or embraced at companies, and not just smaller companies, but large companies as well. You just get more out of people. They want to be there. They want to do stuff for you because you're nurturing them and you show that you actually care and, want to see them succeed, and in turn the company succeeds.
Yes, and I think being open-minded itself,
Mm.
be open to listen. I think when I work on corporate, I have ideas and I will bring them up.
Hmm.
Someone else take credit for it, but I'm like sitting here and wait, that was my idea. Oh, all right then. As long as the company is doing well, and I'm okay with it, right? But at the end of the day, it's kind of like you have to be open-minded, but also give credit to the person that
Right.
helped you make that happen.
Right. It's
And
a
I think
team.
that's that's one of the issues that's corporate face, especially when it comes to women, our voice put down so low where other people take credit for what we done, even though it's
Mm-hmm.
us that did it, right? But
Hmm.
don't get me wrong, it's okay if you don't get credit, but it feels good to know that you've been recognized for the job you
Right.
did,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
And, and,
Yeah, I
and I
think that
think,
the younger folks that work with us, people that come in on, they get a lot more hands-on experience than most
mm,
places because, we throw them in the trenches for better or for worse because we need them to. And I think some people respond well to that sort of training style, and they rise to the top. And, and I've seen a lot of great careers being made here at this company, with that approach, just getting opportunities to sort of get your hands on experience and having the conversations with the clients, and reaching out to television stations, getting involved, feeling like you have a,
that's how you learn. Yeah.
some sort of influence in this process, or do you know what I mean? You've participated.
Yes.
So I think hands on is always good, and it seems to have worked for a lot of people who've worked here over the years with us.
And I love it because I think that's how you learn. It's like I was telling my son, because he wants to be a biologist. And I said,
Mhm.
you're really going to learn from other scientists. Yes, going to school gonna give you the credibility you need, but it's when you're in the field, you are seeing the animals, you are working with other people. That's when you're really gonna
Yeah.
gain that experience. You're really going to learn. And I think what you guys are doing is awesome because you will make mistakes, right? Because you're new, they just threw you out there, you're on the phone with the client, you have no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
But that's how you learn. And you make the mistakes and you learn from the mistake. You go back out there again and do it all over again. If you
Mhm.
have to cry, you go cry and you come back
Yeah.
again. And for me, I love that. And these are the moments usually I go back and talk about, because they're
Yeah.
like, was that was scary, but gee, I learned a lot.
Yeah. And I did it. And,
Yeah,
so making a difference and being impactful, right? It all comes down to that.
that's all it's come down to. So would you say that to all the women out there?
What's that?
Would that be your advice to all the women out there? Just go for
Oh,
it, right?
of course. Yeah. And I mean, find what drives you. And if you want to be impactful and make a difference, then yeah, you have to just go for it, and not worry about your style. I mean, find your style and be authentic.
Be who you are, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Carol, for giving me that chance to talk to you, to learn more about if management. It's amazing what you are doing with if news and what you are doing is awesome. And the fact that you love doing it, you go to sleep, you want to wake up in the morning, you want to be at work. And I think it's awesome because not everyone even have that chance to have that lifestyle because some people hate their job. They don't even want to show up. And you've been there for going, what, 24 years now? It's, um, it's incredible. And I feel like your boss is lucky to have you and to build that bridge. And I'm grateful to just have that conversation, to hear what you have to say and what other women can learn from you as well. We need women like you to just be out there for us, representing us. Let us know that it's okay. It's scary at first. But once you kind of touch the water, you go a little bit deeper, things get a little bit easier.
Mhm. A little bit. It's still a lot of work, and again, like a marathon. you have to keep at it, and it's the every little bits every day that add up. So you just have to be consistent and not expect things to happen overnight, and then one day, you see everything coming together from all the little bits that you put in throughout time. So
Well, no matter what, don't give up, just keep on going.
keep on going. Keep on going. Exactly.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.